So my initial plan a few weeks back when I started to put this video together was to just compile a bunch of footage of my farming in the Dark Zone, showing you different times I got the Eagle Bearer to drop. However, after probably close to 30 or 40 hours of farming, I've yet to personally see an Eagle Bearer or Ravenous for that matter drop in this game, and they are dropping for people. I've heard from you out there who have picked them up. So what we're going to do is a little bit different. Today I want to share with you a few tips for PvE players like myself who are now jumping into the Dark Zone for the first time because you are trying to get this weapon. Therefore, we're going to take a few minutes, go over a few details, and more importantly, answer some of the questions you've sent the channel. What's up, my YouTube family? Graybeard with the Gaming Brigade, back with another Division 2 video. And I know for many of you out there, the idea of really farming for anything whatsoever in the Dark Zone sounds terrible because you just don't want someone taking your stuff. And if you're primarily a PvE player like myself, you probably don't have that much experience in this game mode, and I really wanted to put together a video from that perspective to give you an idea of what you may encounter when you go into the DZ. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, and we are having a giveaway for a PlayStation 5, but I will save that until the end of the video. Now, the first thing I want to make extremely clear as we start off is that I am a total rookie when it comes to the Dark Zone, especially the PvP element. Now, one thing I've always done and will continue to do with the channel is I'm always going to be honest with you. I'm never going to mislead you in any way. So when it comes to PvP builds and things like that, I strongly suggest checking out other channels because there are much better content creators at putting together PvP builds, and if you happen to have any that you'd like to recommend, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, as the main goal is to help out as many people as we can. So with that being said, my friends, we're now going to go over a few basics and answer some of the questions you sent the channel. And once again, to be clear, this is for those of you who play PvE and want to have an idea of what farming in the Dark Zone may be like when you jump into the game mode. This is not a tutorial on how to be a PvP player. I am not that person. Again, you want to see someone else for that information. Now, the first thing I can tell you is if you get into a checkpoint and you look out the door and you see this is definitely not a Dark Zone you want to try to farm in as a PvE player. Now, as a PvE player, this is what you live for. You live for this moment where people are going rogue, there's a manhunt, you want to take each other's stuff, and that's exactly what the DZ is for. But if you are looking to farm, you want to stay away from that area. Now, let's say, for instance, you check all the Dark Zones and it's just a hot mess in all of them. There are rogues everywhere, you've got manhunts, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Thankfully, there is a workaround, and this seems to work each time, and if not, let me know in the comments section down below, or if you have any other tips, please let me know as well. But what I will do is this: I will fast travel from the Dark Zone that I'm in, which is located in DC, and I will go to the Summit, which is located in New York. I will then immediately transfer back to Washington, and at that point I should be put into a different Dark Zone server, so all of the madness I was looking at is gone. It's what I consider madness. I know other people are like, that's what it's for, and I get that, but again, PvE players trying to farm, that's what we're focusing on today. So, you're seeing on the screen, I went from the Dark Zone to the Summit back to Washington, and you'll see now when I open up my map and I hover over DZ East, which is where we were a moment ago, that everything seems to be different. Now, to be clear, it does not mean that there are not rogue agents in there, but I know for a fact visually it is not the same server that it was before. There are no manhunt targets anywhere, so now for me as someone who's trying to get in, farm, and get out, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Another tip I like to pass along is when you first get to the Dark Zone, test the waters agents, see what's going on around you. So for me, what I do is this: I get to the DZ, I do a little farming, grab a few pieces of loot I really don't care about. Then at that point, I go fire off a flare and see if I can extract. Now you're going to see here someone went rogue the second I went to the rope. This is what happens here. You can't get mad. You got to be ready for it. And for me in my gameplay, I'd much rather have an idea of what my surroundings are going to be like right when I start my session than be farming for 2 hours, try to get out of there with a bunch of stuff I want, and then be taken out. And again, that could happen as well, but when I start my session and actually see what's going on, at that point I can determine whether I want to stay in that dark zone, go to another, or show you what I did before, go to New York, come back again, and hopefully get into a different server. Now, when it comes to fast traveling in between checkpoints in the dark zone, there are a few important details I want to pass along again to new and returning players. So first of all, if you have any loot in your bag and you're trying to fast travel, you're going to see a warning saying that if you do, you will lose everything in your bag. Now, you can do that obviously, but again, that means everything you farm for will then be gone. Now, another thing you've asked the channel is what should you do if you actually get something you're looking for in the dark zone, whether it's the Dark Winter, Eaglebearer, Ravenous, whatever it is, you finally get it, but you know there are agents in the dark zone going rogue and they're going to steal your stuff. Now, obviously, we've just covered the fact that you cannot fast travel to a different area or you will lose everything, and obviously, you don't want that to happen because you finally picked up the items you were looking for. And on top of that, let's say you just can't play anymore. You know, there are rogues everywhere. What are you actually going to do? Now, the good thing is when you get to a checkpoint, you can then log out of the game and log back in any other time you want. So to show you what I'm talking about, the map you just saw was from yesterday, and what I did is yesterday I logged out and this morning I logged back in. And by the way, for those of you wondering, that does mean you can completely close the game down as well and you will not lose anything. So again, just to show you that, you're going to see here I play an Xbox, I hit the home button, I'm going to quit the game entirely. Now when I log back in this morning, we're going to cut to the dark zone. I'm in the exact same room I was in last night when I logged out, and when I open my inventory, every single thing I had in there is still there. Now obviously it means I need to now go extract with it, but needless to say, chances are the people who were maybe hunting me before are no longer there. You know, 18 hours later they could be, maybe they're really hardcore, that might be the case, but chances are again you will be in a much better situation and hopefully you'll be able to leave with everything you picked up. Now as I start to wrap this video up, and this is for those of you who are very reluctant to go into the dark zone, is I want to share with you my own personal experience so far, because I know for a lot of you out there this is not something you're looking forward to. Now for me in my gameplay, while I have run into a few toxic people, and keep in mind when I say toxic, I'm not talking about people who are better than me, I'm not talking about people who have gone rogue, I'm talking about people who get on mic and say some awful things. And by the way, if you encounter that, make sure you report it. But putting that aside, most of my encounters have been with some amazing players out there. I mean, some people are just doing the same thing I am, running around and farming. I know I've seen this guy before. I think he was in one of my previous videos as well. By the way, I'm getting the Pestilence to drop nonstop. I've gotten 9, no Eaglebearers, but 9 Pestilence. But anyway, going back to what I was saying about other players, I've met some great players playing in the dark zone, people who want to squad up and help, and even some players who have gone rogue have been so much damn fun to play with because they make the player versus player aspect actually enjoyable. And I usually get my ass kicked, sometimes I don't, but like I ran into someone who will remain nameless and we're playing and they come up to me and I know they're going to go rogue, and they're a squad of 3 and they're like, look, we're going to take your stuff. Now before we do, honestly, do you have anything good? And my response was, nope, I have nothing of value whatsoever. And not only that, if you walk away at this moment, I will let all 3 of you live. And then we all laugh and then they kill my character, take my stuff. And obviously I was lying, I did have good loot, but to me, that's exactly what the PvP element should be like. More often than not, that's exactly what it is. And as always, my friends, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, want any other tips, please let me know and I will get back to you as quick as I can. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I am primarily a PvE player. I do not play PvP that often. Therefore, I am nowhere near an expert in this game mode at all. So as always, if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know, as the main goal is to try to help out as many people as we can. This is going to be the first of a series of videos I put together for farming in the dark zone. Obviously, when I get the Eaglebearer to drop, I'm going to bring that to you. That holds true for the Ravenous as well. And if you've had any luck getting those items, please let me know what you were doing, where you were. And again, remember my friends, it's all luck, but if you keep farming, eventually you will pick it up. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we are currently having a giveaway here for a PlayStation 5. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced May 4th of this year. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel, and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.